going to discuss what I learned from our recent lesson about the self from various perspectives. The main concept of our lesson is that the self can be understood in different ways, depending on the perspective we use. The three perspectives that I learned are the philosophical, sociological, and anthropological perspectives. First is the philosophical perspective. Philosophy tries to understand who we are by looking at our thoughts, consciousness, body, soul, and personal identity. It asks questions like who am I and what makes me who I am. This perspective is important because it encourages us to think deeply about ourselves and understand our beliefs, thoughts, and experiences. Second is the sociological perspective. Sociology explains that self is influenced by society and our relationships with other people. We are social beings, so our family, friends, school, community, and other people can affect the way we think and behave. For example, the way I communicate and interact with other classmates can influence how I see myself and how I develop as a person. Third is the anthropological perspective. This perspective focuses on how culture shapes our identity, our traditions, language, beliefs, values, and way of life can influence who we become. For example, as a Filipino, the culture and values that I learned from my family and community can become part of my identity. The way I respect others, value family, and participate in Filipino traditions as are examples of how culture can influence the self. A real life example of these three perspectives can be seen in my life as a student. When I make decisions, I think about what I personally believe and what I want, which relates to the philosophical perspective. At the same time, my decisions can be influenced by my family, friends, classmates, and teachers, which relates to the sociological perspective. My values and behavior are also influenced by Filipino culture and the things I learned from my family and community, which relates to the anthropological perspective. Through this lesson, I realized that understanding myself is not as simple as just knowing my name, age, or interests. Self is shaped by my thoughts, experiences, relationships, and culture. This different perspective helped me understand why I think and behave the way I do. From my personal reflection, I found it challenging at first to understand the difference between the three perspectives because they all talk about the self but focus on different things. To understand them better, I compared their main ideas and connected each one to situations in my own life. I realized that the best way for me to understand the lesson is not only to memorize the definitions but also to think of real life examples. And overall, this lesson taught me that knowing myself is a continuous process. I am influenced by my own thoughts, the people around me, and the culture where I grow up. Understanding these influences can help me become more aware of who I am and who I want to become. Yeah, thank you.